Hi, I'm Kelly Vaughn, and this is Inside Indy, and we want you to stay alert, stay alive. And that actually is the title of an upcoming Breast Health Summit later in the month of March. And here in the studio to tell us all about it and beyond is Lisa Hayes. You are a R.E.D Alliance Executive Director,
Correct.
right? Okay, and R.E.D stands for?
Reaching to End Disparities.
Okay, and then we also have Shar Brown, and you are the owner of Shar's Medical Supplies.
Shar's Medical Supplies, yes.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Wow, this is a big deal. The
It
summit
is.
that you're having. And
It
this
is.
is, how many years have you been doing this?
This will be our 4th year.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay,
So
'cause
we're really excited.
I've heard Shar talk about it quite a bit over the years that I've gotten to know her.
Uh-huh.
So tell folks about it so they can stay alert.
Yes,
and stay
and
alive.
stay alive. So, first of all, I want to say it's free. It's open to the public. We really typically attract breast cancer survivors and caregivers, their families, health professionals, but anyone that is interested in learning more about breast health specifically, but overall just healthy lifestyles for all types of chronic conditions or health issues. It's a great place to come. Mm-hmm. We'll have many educational workshops and activities that we'll have for everyone, including young people, because we're adding a young people's track this year.
Yes.
A young people's track?
Yes, so we have kind of the layout of the summit is we have a Friday evening that's specifically for breast cancer survivors and caregivers. Okay. But then on Saturday is our big day, and we open it up with a breakfast and keynote session that again is open to anyone. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we have different breakout workshops on different topics. So this year we're adding what we're calling our youth track. So we're trying to really reach out to young people, young men and women who are between the ages of 16 to 22, so kind of high school going on to college. Mm-hmm. And that's being spearheaded by one of our partners, which is Pink Forever organization. This year, well, actually in 2019, they started a Junior Ambassadors program within their initiatives where they've selected, I think the first year is 12 ambassadors that help them to bring awareness and education around breast health issues. So these same junior ambassadors are going to be at the summit this year. And will actually be teaching, but will also be participating in some of the other workshops and activities. So we really want to bring along some young people early for a couple of reasons. One, to teach them about breast health because it is important to learn early, but also these young ambassadors are learning a lot of leadership and advocacy skills that they want to share with other young people in the city.
Okay. I think it's smart you're doing that because, when we think about breast health and early detection and that kind of thing, what does the doctors recommend? Like you get your first mammogram at what age?
Well, there's controversy about that.
Okay.
So there are several different organizations that have different guidelines. And so I'm not going to say what each of those guidelines are because what we like to emphasize is that it's very important that you know your personal breast cancer risk and also that you know what's normal for you because that puts each individual in the best position along with their healthcare providers to determine when you should have a mammogram or other kinds of screenings or tests that could detect any breast problems. And so I will say this, probably years ago, everybody was used to hearing, get your first mammogram at age 40.
40, right, that's what I heard.
And get it every year after that. Well, some of those guidelines have changed, but the R.E.D Alliance, we really want people to know that for African American women, some of those guidelines may not work well because we face disparities, and so we die more often from breast cancer than other ethnicities. Even though we're not diagnosed as often, we die more often. We also are diagnosed at a younger age. And at a later stage of the disease. And so those guidelines might not work for women like us who face those kinds of disparities. And so if we're more likely to be diagnosed at a younger age, it might not make sense to wait until you're 40.
Right. Yeah, a friend in high school, I went to Broad Ripple High School, I remember a classmate, she was 17, and she had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I'd never forgotten that. And so when I got to be about like 21 or 22, and I heard about these guidelines, and again, you can imagine that was many years ago, but it was, 40. And I remember thinking, well, why would I wait till I'm 40 and my classmate was 17? Yeah. So I think I started at about 28 and every other year getting a mammogram. I just did it on my own. I was not waiting on some recommendation because I had seen it. And then they would go, well, it's only a 1 or 2% chance, or only 1 or 2 people out of a million. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, well, what if I'm the million? Yeah. Forget the one person. I could never understand that. So I never liked that recommendation because there's so many variables that play into that.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And so again, that's why we stress knowing your personal risk. And so now I can give a plug. That's one of the educational workshops we'll have at the summit. Is one of the top breast cancer surgeons in the city will be presenting a workshop on breast cancer risk factors, what's fact and what's fiction, and how they apply to you. That's Dr. Monet Bowling.
Yeah, I know.
She's
I know
with
Dr. Bowling
Hendricks
very well.
Yes, so she's with Hendricks Regional Health, and I mentioned them
She's
because
my neighbor, actually.
Oh, okay.
She lives right next door.
Okay. So she practices at Hendricks Regional Health, who is one of the summit sponsors. And I really wanted to mention them because they have been a sponsor for all 4 years that we've put on this summit. So we're really happy to have them, as well as I'll mention now our 2 premier sponsors for this year's summit is Ascension St. Vincent and the Marion County Public Health Department. So we are really appreciative of their support, along with all of our other sponsors that allow us to offer this summit for free. You're going to get a lot of things, be able to do a lot of things for free.
Okay. Now, I know you've been nodding your head over there, so I want to, So were there some things you wanted to interject on, or some feelings you had about that whole issue of, when is the time to get an exam?
Well, actually, I was listening to you when you said you did it early because of your friend, and I said that was smart of you to do that because, the age factor, it doesn't discriminate. So I was nodding like, you did good by doing it earlier than 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the word discriminate. So one of obviously the R.E.D stands for reaching to end disparities. So let's talk about those disparities. And some people, we know people, especially people of color, experience discrimination. But people go, but how does it happen with disease? So what's going on there for those disparities to exist?
So as I mentioned before, the disparities that African American women face right here in Indianapolis is that we are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than other ethnicities. And that's despite being screened at comparable rates and despite being other ethnicities being diagnosed more often with the disease. So that
Why is that?
Well, that's about what I was going to say.
I got enough stuff I got to put up with, okay? I don't need other stuff.
Right, so that's mainly why is that? Well, that's the exact reason that the R.E.D Alliance was formed, to try to find out why is that happening in Indianapolis. And then once we find that out, to start looking at some interventions to eliminate those disparities. So that's really encompasses the work that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we at all not getting checked like we should? Is the message getting out there?
Yes and no. So as I mentioned, our mammography screening rates are pretty comparable to everybody else. So what that tells us is that it's not really a problem with the screening. It has to be other things.
Genetics?
Could be genetics, but it can't be solely genetics, because think about this. If it was genetics only, then the death rates across the country would be you would think would be the same, because genetics don't change from city to city. So if it's 41% here, but in another city it's only 30% death rate.
But genetically we're very different in the sense that if, say, those who are, say, the majority of the population who are white have better survival rates or whatever you're comparing the disparities against. But then when it comes to African Americans, we're also mixed with a lot of stuff.
Right.
We're, some of us are 30% Irish, and you just wonder, how does that, you see what I'm saying? It's about region. It could be about what we're made up of.
Right. So, but again, whatever that makeup is, it can't be solely genetics. And so in some of the research that we're aware of and some of the research that we're doing now, it appears that it's a combination of factors why we face this disparity. And I will mention this, though, in terms of genetics. So there are breast cancer is not just one disease. Breast cancer is many different diseases, different types of breast cancer. And so there's a particular type of breast cancer called triple negative breast cancer, which I'm actually a survivor of triple negative.
Wow.
That's more prevalent among African American women and women of African descent. And it tends to be a very aggressive form of breast cancer and also sometimes harder to treat. So that might be part of it, why there's a
Triple
higher
negative, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Okay, we're going to get a little bit scientific now. Do we have time to do that?
Okay, actually, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about triple negative
Yes.
breast cancer, and then we also want to talk to Shar about what you do to help women really cope and feel good about themselves when they're going through
Yeah,
what
which
they're
is very
facing.
important.
Yeah,
Okay.
very,
Yeah.
very important. So we'll talk more about that when we come back.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
And we're back here on Inside Indy, and we're talking about R.E.D Alliance, which is a big part of a health summit that's coming up at the end of March, March 27th through the 28th. They put this on the Stay Alert, Stay Alive Breast Health Summit. And here again, Lisa Hayes, and then we have Shar Brown, who both are enlightening us on what we need to know about breast health and how we can take part in this summit. So I want to talk to Shar Brown, who is the owner of Shar's Medical Supplies. And you have a pretty fascinating story of how you started your business
Yes.
that serves so many breast cancer survivors.
Yes, I started because my mom is a survivor, a breast cancer survivor. So that got me into the business, helping clients that are in need of mastectomy garments, breast forms, and compression sleeves. It's very important to keep that balance that you need whenever you do go through mastectomy, the process of, losing your breast. And so I'm a certified fitter for that. And also during the summit, I'll be also measuring for, bras and come out to receive maybe a free bra if we have something in stock for them.
So what's the typical client like when they first come to you?
Well, when they first come to me, they have already had their surgery, and it's like 6 weeks out. So it's time to be fitted for the right, proper fitting bra, along with the breast form. And so that's my goal, is to make sure the fit is right, the style is right, the look is right. They're comfortable, and they feel, comfortable again.
Okay, yeah. Because I think that there's probably a big change in their outlook and attitude after they come and get.
Oh, well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's you have to get adjusted by losing your breast. That's something really. I haven't went through that, but my mom has, and dealing with clients, listen to their stories, and they, you tend to, if you don't have the right form, breast form on, you're slouching, your posture is not how it's supposed to be, and if you have the weight of that silicone form, that will keep your posture right, which will, prevent other things happening to your spine, maybe because you don't have your posture.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So,
And
yeah.
then, of course, a big concern for breast cancer survivors, their hair. So is it chemo that usually affects the hair?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And so I deal with that as far as with the wigs. I have custom wigs, I would say medical wigs because they look natural. It looks like they're, make them look like their self.
Okay.
And so that's what I specialize in is the monofilament wigs, cranial prosthesis, they may call it, when it's dealing in the medical field. So that's what I do, and I'm also a provider that can file it on their insurance if it's billable, and I will verify that.
Okay. Okay. So tell us a story of someone who's been there. Maybe they came in thinking, my life is over. And what happened when you were able to help them?
Like when a lady came in, she came in with this is a lady that came in with her hair falling out after chemo. She was just devastated. She said she didn't want to leave her house for 3 months, not because of the chemo, but because of the hair loss. So after she came in and they had a private consultation with me, I went over made sure everything was right, fit, style was right. She was just she was happy, smiling. So that's gratification for me that I know I was able to help her.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's all sounds like it's about getting back to
Finding
feeling
your new
normal.
Finding
Yeah.
a new normal.
Feeling
Yes.
good, looking good, feeling good about yourself. Because one of the workshops we're going to have at the summit is called Collateral Damage from Treatment. And that is going to cover things like, hair loss, handling side effects, even interference with personal relationships that can happen sometimes, financial toxicity. Those are all things that women could experience as part of their breast cancer treatment. So we're going to have some experts talking about how do you manage that collateral damage and how do you survive and thrive.
Okay. Some other workshops that people can expect?
So I mentioned earlier about triple negative breast cancer. So we're going to have a workshop specifically about that. And that's really exciting because here right in Indianapolis, we have 2 researchers who are doing some of the most innovative research on triple negative breast cancer. They practice right here at IU Simon Cancer Center in the IU School of Medicine. And so they are renowned throughout the nation. So if you really want to know what's going on in terms of the research and what that is, you can come and hear that for free. I mean, people ask them to come to other conferences across the country, but right here in Indianapolis, we have them. They're a jewel, and so you can hear all about that.
Okay. Well, it sounds like an excellent opportunity to learn if you haven't been through that. But if you have been through it, or you've just gone through it, there's help, there's hope.
Yes.
At the summit.
Yes, definitely. And can I mention, particularly on Friday night, as I said, it's for survivors and caregivers, and it's a fun night. We offer pampering by Shar and some other great vendors and exhibitors here in the city. So, and they're offering their services for free that night.
So, for instance, what kind of services?
We're gonna have Zumba. We're gonna have bounce. We're gonna have massages. Nail techs come in to do nails, massages, facials, and scalp treatments.
Trying on wigs.
Trying on wigs, yes, and getting properly fitted for a bra. And yes, we're going to be doing a lot.
And that night, too, we're going to have a breast reconstruction panel. So we'll have a plastic surgeon there from St. Vincent, along with 3 survivors who have had different types of breast surgeries and reconstruction. And so for anybody that might be facing it, or just if you want to know generally, that's a good opportunity to hear about different kinds of surgery and how people have come through it and how they made the decision about which kind to have. And we really want it to be a very uplifting, empowering, kind of encouraging night for survivors and their caregivers.
So now, did I see Andrea Moorhead with you guys last year?
Yes.
On Channel 13?
Yes.
So,
in fact, she is on the board of the R.E.D Alliance. And last year, she had just finished up most of her treatment. And so she was our keynote speaker last year. Well, not she moderated a panel that we
Okay.
had at our keynote session. This year, we are really excited about our keynote speaker, who is Dr. Everywoman, who is an OBGYN from Chicago.
Nice.
But she also bills herself as an edutainer. Meaning that she educates in a very entertaining way. So
Okay.
if you go online and just Google or go to her website, dreverywoman.com, you'll see videos. She has a podcast. She's just incredible in terms of sharing health information in a fun way. So she's going to be our keynote. Again, it's free. So that's in the morning from 9 to 11. And then in the afternoon, we'll have our various workshops. And then throughout the day, we'll have our health and wellness expo. So a lot of the vendors and exhibitors that Shar has helped us to get. So you can come out there, you can learn, you can shop because it's clothing,
everything.
it's jewelry, it's accessories.
Everything.
We'll have exhibitors that offer breast cancer or cancer-related services. You can hear about what they have to offer and take advantage of some of those. We'll have God's Pharmacy. Have you heard about God's Pharmacy? So God's Pharmacy is an initiative of the R.E.D Alliance that we created a couple of years ago. And the whole point behind it is there are certain natural foods that are good cancer-fighting foods or just good to eat for healthy lifestyles. And so we have created this huge kind of like open market display. But what we have there is fresh fruits, vegetables, things like nuts and rice and beans. And you can come and pick out what you want. We'll have a shopping bag for you, a recipe book.
Okay.
Yeah, that's those are given away. It's like a 250-page recipe hardcover book that is compliments of the Catherine Peachy Fund, which is also one of our summit sponsors. So you get all that. Get all this food that you could take and the recipes to use the food.
Wow.
And again, it's all for free.
Okay, so everything's for free. Who's paying for all this? 'Cause-
Our great sponsors.
Okay, and let's talk about them again. Who's sponsoring this? I need to call these people for the next event I do.
Yeah, so St. Vincent Ascension
Okay.
and the Marion County Health Department are our premier sponsors this year. And I'll mention too, St. Vincent will be bringing their mobile mammography van. So we're offering mammograms. So anyone that needs a mammogram that day, you can call. You have to pre-register for that, but you can call for that. Can I give the number to call for that?
Sure you can.
Yes, so you call 317-639-5645, extension 202. Call that number. That's my number, actually.
Okay.
And so I will answer, and I will get you registered for a free mammogram that day.
Okay.
Yes. And so,
Very nice. Very
and
nice.
plenty of other sponsors too. So I do want to, recognize them because really we would not be able to do this without those sponsors.
Okay, wow. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a life-changing, life-impacting event.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
and it
hope
seems
will
like
be.
each year
Yes,
it's
and
growing. Has it gotten bigger,
it
say,
is.
from the first
Every
year?
year it's grown, and every year we have tried to add something to it or offer something new. So last year was the first year that we did the Friday night for survivors and caregivers, and it was just such a success. Everybody said, "Oh, are you going to do this again?"
No, nice.
So we've added that, but with even more activities to offer for them that night, and then also. We're having our youth track that I mentioned this year, and then we also added this year a research spotlight, which is great because we'll have researchers, local researchers that are doing research, not just on breast cancer, but on other cancers, on other health conditions. And so it's an opportunity to learn about that research and how it could impact you or your community, and also a possibility of getting involved in that research, which we really need because minorities are not involved, don't participate in research at the levels that we should because we get left behind when we're not part of that research because there are drugs that are developed and treatments that are developed that are not necessarily for our genetic makeup. You were talking about genetics earlier. Well, we need that. We need people to be involved so that we can be a part of those treatments.
You mentioned caregivers. In what ways do you help them? Because I can't even imagine. We always think about the person who is battling the disease, but those around them, it takes a toll on them as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you want to talk about that, or?
Well,
Because I take it you were somewhat of a caregiver for your
yes,
mom,
I
right?
am. I am a caregiver, and yes, it does take a toll on you, and especially when someone's going through the that trauma as far as doing the surgery, and you have to be there for them. You have to be there for them. But in the beginning, sometimes they might not want to talk about it. And then, so it makes it hard for the caregiver to communicate if the person that's going through that. It's just hard.
I'm glad you recognize that too, though, because with the Red Alliance, that's a part that we've really embraced the caregivers too. And so anything that we do that involves support or empowering or giving back, we always try to include those caregivers because they play such a role in that survivorship.
Okay. Okay, so let's go over the details for the
Yes.
Stay Alert, Stay Alive Breast Health Summit.
Yes. So it is March the 27th and 28th. It's free, but registration is required because we need to know how many people we need to feed and try to accommodate for our different workshops. So in order to register, you can go to breasthealthsummit.eventbrite.com and register there, or you can go to the Red Alliance website, which is just redalliance.org, and there's a link for that registration. The registration deadline is March the 13th, so just a few days away.
Okay, okay.
And but people can still register and can indicate what sessions they want to come to, so we'll be prepared to have them there.
Okay, and very quickly, go ahead.
I was going to say, I will have applications at my location.
Yes.
And
okay.
if needed, if they
Okay,
don't want
and where are you, Shar?
I'm at 8330 Knapp Road, Suite 130, right by St. Vincent's Hospital.
Okay, so is it the Heart Center right across from
Yes.
you? Okay.
Yep. So
My
I'm
brother
right
was
there.
there, so I lived there.
so you know.
All the way around. But by the way, thank the Lord, he is 100% back to normal.
that's so
Had
glad
heart
to hear
failure.
that.
You talk about a miracle. That
Yes.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That
I'm
doesn't
so glad
happen.
to
But
hear
yeah,
that.
it's completely normal. My sister saw him out shopping the other day at the
Oh,
store.
yeah.
He ain't thinking about us. Just spent a year nursing him, but he's gone on about his business. So.
So you'll have our
Yes.
registration
Yes,
forms
I will.
there.
Yes, I
So
will.
they can be filled out.
Okay. Very
on the
nice.
form or go online.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in, talking about the Breast Health Summit. Stay alert, stay alive. Lisa Hayes and then Shar Brown. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Liz.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Kelly Vaughn. Be sure to check out the summit, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.